Hi, everybody. So, the U.S. Women's National Team just beat South Korea 3-0 in a rainy Minnesota game, the last game before Emma Hayes has to pick the Olympics roster, giving Emma Hayes 2 wins in her first 2 games as U.S. Women's National Team head coach. In this video, we're going to go through the game, the goals, including the goal from 16-year-old Lily Yohannes in her first cap, and we'll talk about what's next for this U.S. Women's National Team. So we saw 9 changes from Saturday's starting lineup. Just Lindsey Horan and Jenna Neiswanger started both games. Emma Hayes has a huge task on her hands trying to narrow down this current roster of 23 players, plus probably 5 or 6 players who are at home right now, including injured goalkeeper Alyssa Nair, to just 18 players for the Olympic roster. Rose Lavelle earned her 100th cap tonight, and I just have to take a moment here to talk about Rose. Rose is obviously one of the best players in the world. She's like this magical midfielder, magician who can dribble by anybody. She does amazing moves, and she's so graceful, and she's just like dangerous every single time she's near the ball. She's also been one of my closest friends for a really long time, ever since we roomed together in Hawaii in 2015 at U.S. Women's National Team camp. Reaching the 100 cap milestone is something that so few players ever get to reach, and to do it for the U.S., which in my opinion is one of the most competitive and most demanding programs in the world, it's such a testament to Rose's commitment and her resilience over the years and just the talent that she has to accrue that many caps for this team. And it makes me really emotional in a good way to see her get here, because I know I've been so close to her for so long, so I know how much she's put into being a part of this team, and it's amazing. It's such an honor, and so much of it is enjoyable, but it's not always fun or easy. So I just wanted to take a moment here and say how proud I am of Rose and how impressed I've been to see her handle adversity and accomplishment with the same grace and humility. So I freaking love you, Rose. Congrats on 100 caps. I'm really excited for you. Back to the team and the game. Some notable lineup changes. Casey Murphy of the North Carolina Courage started in goal tonight, coming up with a huge save on a free kick in the 30th minute. And Alex Morgan started in the 9, flanked by Jaden Shaw and Crystal Dunn to start. Crystal Dunn up top. You heard that correctly. Today marked the first game in 7 years that Crystal has started for the U.S. Women's National Team as an attacker, and the first time that she's scored since 2018. The goal came in the 13th minute when Crystal slotted home a Jenna Neiswanger cross to put the U.S. up 1-0. Crystal has always been able to just answer the call, regardless of where she's been asked to play. She's just that kind of teammate, and honestly, she's been one of the best outside backs in the world over the course of the last few years. But it was a joy to see her where she loves to play today, up top and scoring goals. I'll take Crystal Dunn pretty much anywhere on the field. Then in the second half, there was a hockey line change sub of the front 3. Sophia Smith, Trinity Rodman, Mal Swanson all came into the game, plus a change in the midfield with Sam Coffey coming on for Lindsey Horan. Sophia Smith finished a nice counterattack goal from an impossible angle to put us up 2-0. Then we also saw 16-year-old Ajax midfielder and friendlies guest Lily Yohannes make her international debut for the U.S. Women's National Team and score a lovely little goal, becoming the 3rd youngest goal scorer in U.S. Women's National Team history. Lily celebrated with the team as if she was just born to be on the U.S. Women's National Team. It was like so heartwarming and so nice to see it. Felt like this moment where it was a dream come true and everybody was so happy for Lily. But I do have to say, this was a friendly appearance, so it doesn't cap tie Lily. Cap tie means that once you have a certain number of caps in certain competitions for a national team, you're ineligible to play for another nation. Lily could still choose to play for the Netherlands, where she will soon be a citizen and therefore eligible for their national team. Only time will tell, but it was very exciting to see Lily on the field tonight, and I have a good feeling that Lily enjoyed herself, and I think we may be seeing a lot more of her with the U.S. All right, so some key takeaways from this game. 1, I did notice at times a little bit of a tension out there, but I'm not surprised by this at all. This has got to be one of the most tense moments for the players on this team. We have new players trying out, but we also have veteran players trying out. There are 23 players on this roster, and there are, like I said, there are probably a few more home that are waiting in the wings for an opportunity of any kind. Alyssa Nair is injured. For the Olympics, it's just an 18-player roster. So I would predict that we would name 6 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 5 forwards, plus 2 goalkeepers. So this sucks to say, and it's so hard, but players are getting cut. So tonight, I just felt a little bit stiff at times. Like I maybe noticed some nerves and a little bit of frustration when things didn't go as planned. If there was a missed pass, maybe somebody's arms would go up in the air. But I think that that's totally normal for this stage in the game. This was the most nerve-wracking game a lot of these players have probably ever played in, just because of how high the stakes are to try to make this Olympics roster. Each and every play just matters so much. It feels like one pass or one foul could solidify your spot at the Olympics or solidify your spot at home. So those little missed passes or sloppy moments, I think that they will all go away once the roster is named. But this kind of high-pressure environment is great practice for the Olympics. It's perfect. A lot of these players are just learning how to play under this amount of stress, so I'm not worried about this team at all. 2, the substitutions made a huge difference tonight. It was a really positive tail end of the game from probably like the 65th minute on, especially from that attacking group that subbed on the field. Mal Swanson, Sophia Smith, Trinity Rodman all came on the field at once. Kind of unfair for South Korea. Lily Yohannes also subbed into the game, and she played really well, especially considering it was her first cap, and she's only 16. She did not look like a newbie out there at all. So the depth of this roster is still a bonus for us, even though it's going to make roster selection such a challenge. 3, one thing I do keep noticing is that Jenna Neiswanger is just so good offensively, but it does leave our backline a little bit exposed at times. And so I think the solution for this is just that the other 3 defenders need to shift a little bit harder and quicker towards that left side, especially in transition when we lose the ball while Jenna is high. I noticed this in the first game as well, but I really like how dangerous Jenna is going forward. She's getting assists. She's in and around the box. She's been creating goal-scoring opportunities. So I don't want to hold her back. But I do think that the rest of the team just needs to adjust a little bit. And this is the thing that I would kind of scout against this U.S. women's national team. Exploit that space in behind on the left side in transition. I'm saying this out of love because there's time to adjust, and I know that we will. It's not a big deal at all. Jenna is just so good that we need to let her get forward and then make up for it on the other side. Okay, so what's next for this U.S. women's national team? These players will return to their club teams, many of them in the NWSL, and continue playing. And honestly, continue trying out and making their cases for the Olympics roster. I'm sure Emma is going to be watching everybody. They'll have 5 or 6 club games between now and the next U.S. women's national team game on July 13th in New York City, the first of 2 send-off games. The roster will likely be named in late June or early July before those send-off games. And Emma Hayes may have a dream job, but I do not envy her right now for having to pick this roster. The Olympics roster is just so small, and a lot of players are making really great cases for themselves. After the roster gets named, the Olympic roster and 4 alternates will head into camp, and they'll play in 2 send-off games before heading to the Olympics in Paris. The first game against Mexico is on July 13th in New York. The last time we played Mexico in the Gold Cup, they handed us our only loss of 2024, so that's going to be a big game to watch and a big test for the U.S. women's national team before the tournament. Then the team will head to D.C. to play Costa Rica on July 16th. I can't wait to watch the Olympics with all of you. It's going to be an amazing summer of soccer. In the meantime, stick around with us here at the Women's Game. Becky Sauerbrunn and I will be covering this U.S. women's national team game and this whole international break from the past week on an all-new episode of Good Vibes that will drop on Thursday. Also, I'm off to Kansas City for our live show. So follow along with us on our socials this week as we prepare for our first ever Women's Game live show in Kansas City at the Madrid Theater. I'm interviewing some former teammates and friends and some very special guests from the Kansas City Current. I'm hungry for some barbecue. I'm thirsty for some Olipop, and I can't wait to see everybody in Kansas City. Thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. We'll see you soon.